Most of the time when the business gets stuck, it's because of the mindset and the psychology of the founder. Because where the leader can flourish, where they can work on their own mindset, all right, their own perspective, every business succeeds well.
One of the hardest things in business as a founder, as a CEO, taking extreme ownership.
Hey, how do I make my team person a high performer? But the challenge is you can't make one. You just have to find one. And the more and more deeper I go, I just understand that I need to spend so much more time in recruitment aspect of it. Because that one high performer can change the trajectory of the business.
What are 3 key questions that a founder needs to ask to someone that is potentially coming on board as a remote team player?
For me, the first and biggest one, which I usually start with, is
What are the reasons business owners should consider building a remote team compared to a local team?
when you have a remote team, one of the biggest benefits is
Welcome to Founders Playbook Podcast, the ultimate guide for entrepreneurs to build their empires, increase profits, and become great leaders. I'm your host, Nelson, founder and CEO of Vibes Creative, Australia's leading video podcast agency. Let's get down to business. Welcome back to another episode of Founders Playbook. Today, we are lucky enough to have another legendary guest that has helped hundreds of business owners get more free time, increase their profits, and unlock exponential growth with remote teams. He has built his own team to over 170 staff across 4 different countries. So he knows a thing or two of what it takes to build an elite remote team. Please welcome the incredible, the legend, Mr. Darshan Chavan.
good to have you here as well. It's really good to be in the chair. Happy to share everything that I've learned in the last few years of how to build remote teams. So yeah, I'm really pumped.
Let's just get straight into it. How did you go from $3 an hour to over $1 million profit?
I think so. It's a long journey. It's very easy to see that it's just going to be $3 an hour to $1 million in profit. It's kind of a cliche, but there've been a lot of other milestones. There's been a lot of learning journey. There's been a lot of blunders and mistakes as well along the way, which might have costed me many more things. But it's been a work in progress, Nelson. That's how I would say, all right, because it's a good hook or it's a good catch. But to be honest with you, it's not that easy because they always say that, right? Success is something that you get rewarded in public for what you insanely and consistently practice in private. So that's been a long journey. So I'm here to have a chat about that today.
And just like you literally when you came into the studio, you gifted me a book, and it's something like along the lines of the entrepreneurship roller coaster, right? And
Yeah.
it's the ups and downs, it's all the things that nobody sees as well. You always have to show up, and there's a million things happening in the back end, and you still need to be a leader for your team, for your company, for your clients, for your customers, right? But in the back end, you will be dealing with all the different fires, all the different things that it takes to build a great company, and even the possibility of clearing $1 million profit, right? Just to give context to people, um, who were you when you were making $3 per hour? What
Yeah.
was going on with your life?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I was overseas. I was in India and I was working in an IT company, IBM. Most of them know that. And the main challenge was I had just graduated from my university and I was just looking for a job. And the job which I ended up getting at that time was called as an IT security analyst. And all I had to do was run a few code on a few servers and continue doing this job. So that's exactly what I was doing at that time, way back in India. This was in like 2010, almost close to 15 years ago now. And yeah, I was on a job and I was just doing this work where there was a lot of thing that was already outsourced to IBM, and our clients in US used to give us some work, and we used to set up their servers, run their servers, maintain their servers on cloud. And yeah, this was the first job which I got right out of university.
How did you then fast forward come across the opportunity or realize like, hey, there's a big gap in here in the market for me to help companies build teams that then eventually led you to clear $1 million profit?
Yeah, like it's a step-by-step process at that time. For me, what I discovered even while I was working for $3 an hour was two most important things. The first one is if you have a goal, all right, like a written down goal, and if you have enough belief and enough certainty in it, you can achieve it. Okay. And the second thing is if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to improve, all right, the world is your limit. All right. You can do anything that you can set for yourself if you have an open mind. That's when I started getting a lot more into personal development. When I started hearing about people like Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Jim Rohn, and other things. And it was like going in a rabbit hole with a huge treasure chest. And for me, that was the biggest epiphany moment I had, that, yeah, I can change my life. All right. I don't need to be like this. So if I'm willing to learn, if I'm willing to apply what I learn, I can really make things happen. All right. And for me, the biggest breakthrough I had at that time was when I was working in IBM. It has just been 6 months since I started working over there. I kept a very audacious goal that I'll be the number one top performer in that particular project. And what happened was with one of my senior team member, I went and shared this goal with him. And literally, he fell down from his chair laughing. And he's like, come on, man, are you kidding? You just been here for 6 months and you're saying that you will be one of the top person in the company in this project. And there are people who've been working in this project for 5 years, 6 years, and they have never been able to achieve it. And you're telling me this. And in a way, I was a bit taken aback. At the same time, I have this attitude in me to prove people wrong. Okay. And I kept it as a goal. No matter what happens, I will be the number one performer in that particular project in IBM, in that particular company. And I went nuts. All right. I went through all the goal setting courses, I went everything. I got the help from different team members. And what happened was at that time, 2011, 2012, we did not have Loom. Okay. We did not have any kind of a screen sharing technology. So, but there was a software called as Camtasia. So what I did was I recorded everything that we were doing day in and day out. And I built a knowledge transfer system in IBM where it cut down almost like 70% the training time required for new people who's going to come in. And then I had to give this presentation to all the senior managers in IBM. I had to tell them how impactful was it. And lo and behold, I got that award for being the top performer and everything. And my salary increased by 30%. But the biggest challenge what I could see was I had to wait for 6 months to get that increment in my income. That didn't make sense to me. All right. And the more I researched and the more I understood, I could see that the only way for me to increase my income was to get into sales and get into marketing. All right. And since I had built that belief that I can do something new, I was always thinking about opportunities overseas. And that's when I decided, yep, I need to just come to Australia and start my journey here.
Your story resonates a lot with me because I'm an immigrant myself too, coming
Yeah.
from Venezuela and,
So good.
becoming a dentist back home and then realizing like, wow, this is not gonna work, right?
Yeah.
This is not the way to build the life that I want.
Mm.
And then eventually led to Australia, and fast forward, like I stopped completely doing dentistry to build something completely different, right?
So
A
good.
podcast agency. Now, you basically now help other business owners build incredible
Mm.
remote team members. What are the reasons a business owner should consider building a remote team compared to a local team?
Yep. Let me get started with you why we started helping business owners build remote teams, because this was way back in 2022, okay, where we got recognized by the Australian Financial Review as one of the 100 fastest growing companies in Australia, and we were placed at 66th position. Okay, so we were not even helping other businesses at that time. We were building our own courses business, and it grew pretty profitably at a very fast rate. So a few of my entrepreneur friends started asking us, "What are you doing? How come you're scaling so fast profitably? All right, building almost like a seven-figure net profit, but at the same time you're scaling very fast, because it's hard to scale with high profitability at times, because you're burning cash, you're investing in ads, you're investing in people. That's when it really started, where we were able to mentor a few of the business owners, and they were able to get the same results, where they were able to scale pretty high, like, add so much more revenue, add so much more net profit. And more importantly, I could see that this was very fulfilling. The biggest reason being, when you have a remote team, one of the biggest benefits is your cash flow will be pretty strong and your profits will be pretty high. And the best aspect, what I've seen is, Nelson, is you get an opportunity to tap into the global talent market. You're not just restricted to one geographical area. This has been the biggest game changer for me, because previously, a few years ago, it was just about hiring cheap talent, $5 an hour, $6 an hour, these kind of things. And to this date, I really don't tell people to go for the cheap talent, but to tap into the global talent that's available out there. Because when you really go and look for different countries, it can be India, Philippines, even US, Vietnam, some of the talent that's available out there is just going to blow your mind.
So then that's one of the main reasons as to why you would consider going basically abroad, right? Because
Yes.
you can tap into more talent that
Yes.
potentially will be even better to some of what you currently have access to locally. What are some of the other reasons as to why you should look, and on top of the
Mm,
cash flow as well, of course, because it could be way more profitable for the company to tap into this kind of
yeah.
talent?
For me, the biggest one is like the service that you are able to provide to your clients. With one of our courses business, one of our USP is that we do provide you after hours support. So we provide support to people from 4:30 till 7:30 p.m. because there are a few people who are professionals, and the time that they get is only after 4:30. And for that reason, people love it. Okay. And when we look at our Trustpilot reviews, our Google reviews, I can see that we have created some crazy raving fans. And what happens with this is, when you are able to provide exceptional support, I can see my LTV goes up like anything. All right. We have people who buy 3 courses, 5 courses, 7 courses from us. And it's just unbelievable. The only reason being, because we have a remote team, they are able to support these people after hours. They're able to support these people during weekends. And the best part is, somehow I feel that when you hire people from overseas, they go the extra mile. Okay. It might be different in different areas as well, but in my own personal experience, the hunger, the drive that these people have is absolutely exceptional. Because for me as well, I'm an immigrant. All right. And sometimes I know that I can go the extra mile, I can push so many things. And more importantly, when I work with my team members who are remote and who are based in other countries, they see opportunities which sometimes I myself can't see, being here in Australia. And they're like, oh my God, we can do these things. We can work a bit more harder. All right. So I just believe that they don't have that entitlement thing sometimes, which comes in without you and you being aware. And this absolutely drives the results.
This is something that I completely agree. We have over 20 team members overseas in a few different countries as well. And you can totally see how the hunger level is, and as an immigrant as well.
Yes.
And the more we also hire local people and local talent, we have gone through many of them in the past. And you can just tell that,
Mm,
there is a sense of entitlement a lot of the times. Not for everyone. We have also come
true.
across local team members that they're absolutely elite and they don't take stuff for granted, and they understand, like, hey, you have to earn your position. You have to,
Mm,
earn even the opportunity to be in a high performing team. But more times than not, definitely I have experience as well in my own journey that remote team members are just way more willing to
mm,
give the extra mile compared to local talent. And even things like what you just mentioned, like, hey, having even the ability to provide extra level of support, the
yeah.
extra communication, which is huge as well, to be
Yes.
able to retain clients and customers way longer, right? Now, in terms of, that's obviously the reasons we have discussed as to, hey, why you might want to consider as a business
Hmm.
owner to go and build a team, a remote team. Now, for the people that do have already some level of remote team members, what are the most common mistakes you see business owners make when it comes to building high performing remote teams?
Yep. The biggest one which I've seen is sometimes going for the cheapest talent. All right. And this is what sometimes baffles me. When you try to hire people onshore, you're happy to pay $55 an hour. But as soon as the remote team or outsourcing comes, I can see people trying to go for $5 an hour, trying to go for $6 an hour. And this really kind of shocks me. I'm like, you're happy to pay someone $55 an hour. Why do you want to go from $55 to $5 an hour? And this has been a common reason, Nelson. I've seen why people struggle with outsourcing or building remote teams is because they really don't pay well for an exceptional talent. All right. And yeah, especially when you pay people really well, they get amazing results. So what we do is in our group of companies, we usually hire people who are leaders, and more importantly, we pay them on results. So they get bonuses, they get commissions, they get incentives, untapped tier level bonuses as well, both for our leaders, for our sales team, for our marketing team, because we know that when someone is internally driven and there is no cap to how much that they can earn, it just brings in amazing desire in them to succeed, to take it to the next level. All right, that's the first one. The second thing which I see is they don't really spend time in profiling the right person that they need for the right role. And what we do is we usually use something similar to disc profiling. All right, depending on what role it is for, we try to place that particular candidate over there. So if it's like a sales role, it's better that they're high D and high C, like results driven and detail oriented, because with this kind of a personality, they'll be able to get some amazing results. Whereas if they are a customer support, a social media kind of a person, it's better that they hire someone who's a bit more extroverted because it really aligns to their personality. So this is the second mistake I've seen people do, where they just go and hire someone without really spending time on the personality. What is that personality profiling that you need? As Jim Collin talks about, the right seats in the right role. Because I was always confused. What does he mean by right seats in the right role? The biggest one over here is choosing the right personality. What is that personality that you need? And the third one is having clarity on what is expected of them. So we use a thing called as a job scorecard, which gives a clarity even before you start looking out for the role. What are the things that are expected of them? All right. What are the skills, the traits that are required for a person to succeed in this role? So what I've seen is if you spend a little bit more time, even before you go out there and recruit people, you're going to have an amazing impact. Last but not the least is similar to what you do, is building a strong personal brand and a company brand. I can't tell you this has been the biggest needle move for us, because especially in the last few months and years, I have spent a lot more time on building my personal brand on LinkedIn. And I can't tell you the level of talent that we're able to acquire and hire, because people want to work with those founders who now have a personal brand, who are influential. And also, people want to work with a company that has an impact. All right. They know that, yeah, I know about this company. This company has spent time building their brand. So yeah, these 4 to 5 things are the most important ones.
Absolutely. That's kind of like an unfair advantage. Now, if the founder has a top level personal brand or is truly recognized as an authority in the space, of course the top talent is gonna want to work
Mhm.
with them compared to Mr. John that nobody knows
Yes.
in the market, right? So it's one of those things where you kind of have to jump on the train,
Mhm.
because if you're not doing it, regardless of what niche you're in, if you're not building your personal brand, and you might not even have to do it just because you're trying to get top level talent. It's also going to help you get better quality customers and ultimately just build a much better, faster company, right? But if you're not doing it, let's just say that you're like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't have the time, or I just don't think that that's what I should do. Then guess what? Someone else in your market is doing it, and the talent and customers that you're fighting for are probably would rather go to that person, just because in the eyes of everyone else and even in their own minds it's like, well, this guy I know, and I feel like I trust more than you, right? Because I consume more content, I've seen him more, so he's already by default more top of mind. So that is kind of like something that no one talks about, right? You
No.
want better talent. Well, where is your brand, right, to
Yes.
attract that better talent, right? So
Massively. Because that's something which I've observed in the last few
yeah.
months for me. Even currently, in the month or two, I'm trying to hire a really senior leadership position. And I can't tell you, this person is chasing me on LinkedIn these days. And this person already has a very high paying job in an amazing company. But now they are pursuing us that, you know what, I want to come and work for your company. And the more I can see that, it's because of the videos I'm putting out, because of the content I'm putting out on LinkedIn, on TikTok, Instagram, whatever it might be. And they start trusting you. They start looking at you like an authority as well. And yeah, it has a massive impact. Imagine if you can hire that one person, how much of a big impact it can have on your entire organization. And this is something which I was resisting for a long time. All right. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to focus on my sales and my marketing. I don't want to build my personal brand. As you mentioned, it takes too much time, it takes too much effort. But to be honest with you, your company has played a massive role, all right, in really structuring it, in making sure that I don't spend too much time over there. And yeah, it's been an absolute game changer.
That's something that makes me so happy to hear back as well from building, with our team, your podcast, some of the personal
Yes.
brand, and just hearing that that's exactly what we wanted, right? To help you being perceived as an authority, so that ultimately you can get more talent to come to you, so you can serve more of your customers. That ultimately is the ultimate benefit that we were looking for your specific strategy. So that alone makes me super happy to hear back that it resulted in what we were
Yes.
looking for, right? Now, in terms of that talent, can you walk us through the entire process, right? Of how do you go about, okay, a company comes to you, or even you for your own company, how do you go about sourcing, vetting, training, and then getting fully up to speed a remote team member to really produce the outcomes that you want for the company?
Absolutely, Nelson. Like after going through a lot of interviews, we have a particular formula now. All right, that's so bulletproof. It works most of the times. All right. So the first and foremost, as I told you, it starts with building your brand and your company brand. So what we did was with like we took one department, like say a sales team or a marketing team, and this was almost 4 years ago. What we did was we profiled our cream of the crop top talent. Okay. And we looked at, okay, these are the top performers. Let's go and study a little bit more. All right. What's their age? All right. What's their profiling? What's their behavior? All right. And all these things. And when we went deeper, we could really see that these people are falling in a particular age group. These people are falling in a particular demographic. They have a particular trait. And this was the first thing that we had to do, all right, to understand who are your top performers. And is there any way, can you find more of those kind of top performers? All right, because they always say that, right? Success leaves clues. So that's what we had to do in the beginning. And that's what we do currently for all our clients as well. Try to understand what is already working. And even in our group of businesses, where we have built really big remote teams, what is that profiling that works like magic? Okay. And the second thing is trying to build that company profiling, because these days people want to work for a company that has strong values, that has a strong mission, and that has a strong impact. So what we did was we all create sales pages. We always create landing pages to get opt-ins and get clients. And what we did was we reverse engineered that and created a very compelling landing page or a sales page to get top level talent. All right, where we mentioned all our Glassdoor reviews. All right, and we took at least 5 or 8 of our top performers and shot case study testimonials. We shot video reviews of them, of their work experience. How has it been? How's the culture of the business? How's the culture of the company? And more importantly, what have they achieved personally since they started working with us? And everything was put on that one particular page. So if a candidate looks at your page, they should feel that, man, this is the only company that I want to work for, and this is the company that I want to retire from as well. All right, that's how compelling that particular landing page is going to be. And the third one is now coming to the interview stage, is where we go through a few steps which are really crucial. The first and foremost is the profiling, as I discussed with you. What particular profiling that they need to have with this profiling, especially for that particular role. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? And the second thing is we run a particular test called as a hunger test, just to know that what's the reason why they want this job. Okay, what are their obligations? Because what we have seen is more obligations that they have, the more persistent and more resilient they're going to be. Do they have to pay the school fees of their kids? Do they have a huge mortgage? Do they have to pay for their aging parents' medical bills? And depending on this hunger test, we rate every candidate. And I can clearly see that most of our top performers, they have a chip on their shoulder. They have to prove something. All right. That's when I can see that when times get really hard, they push through every single thing and make it happen. And the next one that we ask a question is like a breadwinner test as well. We want to find out, is this the person the breadwinner? Or are they living with a rich parent? Or do they have a husband who works for Google or Microsoft, something like that, where it's not a must for them to have the job. So this is another test that we do as well. So after we do all these things, we get to know that, yep, this is the right candidate to work for. And then even when we hire, we go through almost 3 days of onboarding to really let them know what are our company values. And this time, during the onboarding stage, to be honest with you, even the candidate is evaluating if this is the right business for me to work on. All right, because they haven't yet bought in that this will be the business that I'll be working on. So you need to sell them a lot why this is the best project, why this is the best company. And that's exactly what we do. We work a lot on building their belief, on building their certainty, building their hope. And what we do is we share with them what are some of the other successful people in the businesses have done, what have they achieved. And we also get them an accountability buddy that they get to work one on one with, so that for the next 3 months they know that, yep, this is the company I really want to succeed and I want to have the buy-in.
I love how you were explaining as well that you guys are basically looking for the common traits of
Mm,
what the best high performers that you guys have had look like,
yes.
right? What a easier way to find, like, hey, we just need to replicate the characteristics that we can see from our best performance, right? Because chances are, if other people reflects those same characteristics, that they will be a high performer too, right? Which is something that we do on our own base based on our clients as well. But it's interesting when you think of it from the perspective of a team member, right? Or someone that works with the company. And then the hunger test
Mm,
as well, and breadwinner test. That seems like so logical, right? Why wouldn't you be looking for those traits that obviously we just uncover that this person has a strong motivation to
mm,
want to get the job, but also to really excel at the
mm,
job. Because what the last thing that you will want on a team member is someone that just comes in and is a B or C player, right?
mm.
Like those are the worst to bring to the company. Okay, going back to that interview as well, what are three key questions that a founder needs to ask to someone that is potentially coming on board as a remote team player so that you can really screen out the B and C players and really allow for A players to shine?
Big one for me. The first and biggest one which I usually start with is, what is it that they're looking for in the company they want to work for? All right. The reason being, I get to understand their values, their core beliefs, and what exactly are they looking for in a particular company. Because if that matches with our core values, I can see there's a huge match. Whereas there are certain people who do say a few things, and I can clearly sense that within the first 5 minutes, this might not be the right match because they might be looking for something else and we are looking for something else. So that's the reason why I go a bit more harder on this one, really understanding what is it that they want in a company. Some people say it's culture, some people say it's money, some people say it's freedom. So what I do is, even when, if in case we onboard them, I know what this person values. What is it that is important for this particular person? For some people, it's not money at all. For them, the only thing that they value is their freedom. All right. They want to work from different places and they want to finish off at 4 p.m. which is good, which is so important as well. There's no judgment, right? Everyone has their own way of looking at life. The second thing which I go really deep on is understanding their personal goals. Okay. And as soon as I ask this question, hey, tell me, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? They start talking about their professional goals, where their career goals. And I just have to ask them, hey, please stop. Tell me what do you want to achieve personally. All right. What do you want to own? What do you want to have? What do you want to do for your family? Because I can see that, especially when you work with remote teams, especially people in Philippines, India, and other things, they go the extra mile to do more for their family than for themselves. So I go really and I try to listen. All right. Why is it? What is their biggest driving factor? And there are key things when you really listen, when you zip your mouth for this question, you can see that are they going to go the extra mile? Are they going to be persistent? Are they going to be resilient and make sure whatever happens, they're going to go through it? And the third thing which I usually ask them is tell me something about your recent failure. All right, something that did not work, and how did you bounce back? Because this really tells us about their ability, about grit. Because I can see that no matter how talented, how smart, how intelligent they are, if they don't have grit, it's just not going to work. Because especially in our group of businesses, it's an extremely high performing environment. All right, we do have fun, we do have a lot of things, but it's so high performing that if they don't have that grit, it's very rare that they would be able to sustain.
Great, and resilience are definitely some key foundations that they need to have, because it's too hard, right? To like, how do you train a team member to have resilience? You could, I guess, over time, but is it worth the time to put in resources to making someone resilient compared to just finding someone that already has some good level of grit and resilience? One thing that I want to touch based on what you said as well on that first question regarding the money element, I think there's a very common uh, belief, let's say, for most business owners that money is the biggest incentive that you can have for a team member to actually perform at the highest level. Is that true?
In a way, it is. But what I can see in my own experience is there are other things that add up as well. All right. Money is just a cherry on the cake. And what I have seen these days with really extremely high performing people, there are at least three or four things that they value. The first and foremost is they want to work with other A players. This has been the biggest one, Nelson, which I have seen, because no one wants to work with poor performers. All right. If you are a lion, you would want to work with a lion. All right. You don't want to work with like a zebra or a donkey or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
All right. Because you will become one, because people know that. This is
Yes.
the reason why, if you look at amazing companies like Amazon, Google, all these people, want to work in Google because they know that that's where all the best people are. So this has been the biggest thing which I've seen these days. And the second thing is people value freedom. And especially while you're building a remote team, nowadays I can see people want to work remotely more than going to an office, especially in countries like Philippines, India, and Vietnam, because they've had enough of commuting time in traffic. So they don't want to do it. They want to spend more time with their family. All right. They want to work from home. They want to have a good lifestyle, and they are happy to just work from home in a remote environment. They don't value going to an office space these days. And the third thing is, are you a part of a mission? Are you making an impact? Rather than just increasing your revenue, all right, increasing your profit margin, what is it that you're doing outside of just making a profit? For us, what we have done is something that we are really passionate about is we have partnered with a particular company called as Destiny Rescue. And what Destiny Rescue does is they are trying to end sexual slavery in Philippines. So every year we try to sponsor a raid. We did this last time as well. And yeah, they were able to rescue around 85 to 90 kids
That's awesome.
from falling into sexual slavery. So this is something that is really dearer to our heart as well, where we know that we want to make an impact, not just a number or whatever it might be. And it's unbelievable the engagement that we have in our company when we know that we are making an impact. So I can see that maybe the fourth one can be money, but usually people confuse it that it's all about money. But to be honest with you, it's not. there are other things that come into picture, that come into play, that, yeah, it can help a lot.
Yeah, money is definitely one of those that you kind of need to satisfy the minimum that
Yes.
that person is striving to. Another part that I have found that is key with the money element and motivating a team member is having a clear picture as
Mm.
to how they can continue to progress as
Yes.
well. That there is no just a set limit as to, hey, this is the maximum that you will be able to make, but it's more about these are all the different options as to how you can progress the career or the position within the company, but also these are all the different incentives put into place
Mm.
so that you are in control of making more money
Mm.
within our team. That's one thing that I found that is really important in order to get the high performers to want to continue to excel, right?
And
One
this is a
thing,
very
yeah.
important topic as well, Nelson, because I've heard a lot of people ask us, hey, how do I make my team person a high performer? How do I make my team person an A player? All right. And this is a question I've asked myself as well over and over again. But the challenge is you can't make one. You just have to find one. All right. And the more and more I deeper I go, I just understand that I need to spend so much more time in recruitment aspect of it. Because that one high performer can change the trajectory of the business. And the more I bang my head and trying to make some B player and A player, is just not gonna happen. Yeah.
So then, to confirm, are are A players born or made?
I think so they are made, all right, but it's up to you to find them. Okay. But there is a percentage of it which you can craft with your culture, with your environment and other things. But certain characteristics, it's hard for you to teach them until unless they have that drive, until unless they have that internal motivation. Yeah, it takes a Herculean task on yourself to push them, motivate them. Whereas when you find an A player, oh man, it's so much more easier. They would thrive to a next level because of your mentoring and coaching as well.
Now, going back to one thing as well to make it clear for people, and we discussed how, so most people go for the $5 an hour type of talent, right? Which is, let's say, the very bottom of them. And some people then are willing to pay locally 35, 55 plus per hour to get local talent. You're saying like, hey, it's not one or the other. You can find really good remote
Mm.
talent somewhere in between, right? On average, and obviously this will change depending on the specific position that you're hunting for, but on average, what's the hourly rate that you're looking for these remote elite players?
It's usually, as you mentioned, it depends on the position. But imagine like if it's going to be like customer support, an admin, an estimator, something like that. For you to get a really top-notch talent, it will be between $14 to $16 an hour. And the best part is sometimes you need to understand this. When you hire people from remote, there's no PAYG, there's no super, there's no headaches with fair work laws. All these things. This is the reason why more people are now opting to go and hire remote teams, because some of the business owners, especially here in Australia, have had it enough of dealing with the fair work issues, the fair work laws, and everything. Okay, yeah, there have been one or two cases of people overseas as well getting into fair work, but that's 1 in 20 million people who work overseas. All right, because these people are really hardworking, they're energetic, and they want to get work done. And what I've seen is when you pay people really well, they do work really well as well. And what we usually do in our group of businesses is we also tie up different incentives, different KPIs, and different structures in such a way. If they hit these targets, they'll be able to earn more, because this makes them a part of the business. All right, they become like profit partners. So yeah, there are base wages that you can get started with, but also a shift in mentality, which sometimes gives more freedom for business owners like us, is you can focus on bigger level activities where they take the ownership for the role, because they know that if I hit this KPI, I can make a little bit more money. So that ownership is just not on you as a business owner. Whereas if that ownership can be passed on to the team member, and if they can make a little bit more money, why not? All right. So that's something which has really helped us get a little bit more of time freedom. Because whenever I speak with business owners, they ask that, oh, sometimes I'm working 60 hours a week, all right, 70 hours a week. The reason might be maybe the structuring has not been set up right in your business. Does most of your team members get a bonus? When I ask them, no, most people don't get. The main challenge is sometimes we confuse that only salespeople need to have a bonus or a commission or like take like a bonus. But what if even your customer support has a KPI and if they can get a bonus? And the best part is because they're remote, they don't need to have an impact on your net profit margin. So it just comes down to keeping that incentive structure that is very appealing, makes a big difference.
We'll talk about that in just a second because I think this could be something big for everyone listening now in terms of incentives. But before we get there, you mentioned now onboarding takes you about 3 days. Can you describe what's the best onboarding that someone can implement for a high performing remote talent?
Yeah. First and foremost is preparing your onboarding deck. All right. So that's what we have spent a lot of time in preparing our entire onboarding deck, which gives the complete information about the company. All right. So from the time we started, all right, when was the date when we started? Who are the founders? Who are the board members? And also, who are the different people in the business that you need to get in touch with for the different roles? And on top of that, what we do is the leaders in our company, they take anywhere between an hour or 90 minutes in going through this onboarding deck with every single team member, in letting them know that, yep, this is when the company was started, these are the different projects that we work on. And more importantly, in that deck, we also show different results the clients have got. This is such a huge thing, Nelson, because people know that whatever work they are doing is making a change, is having an impact. And we put all the reviews, some of our top case studies, testimonials, everything on that onboarding deck as well. So people can see that, yep, this is an impact that we are doing for our clients. And on top of that, we have a particular PowerPoint, like a slide itself, where our top team members, they are speaking about their experience being in the company, working for 8 years. What have they achieved? What different vacations they have taken? All right. How many houses they have bought? What different cars they have bought? And all these things. So when someone, a new person is watching this, they're like, wow, what a freaking awesome company, man. I really want to be a part of this culture. Okay. I really want to make an impact. We also go deeper in explaining about our mission. All right. What impact we want to make in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. What are our core values? Okay. And another very important thing that we add on this onboarding deck is our routines and rhythms. Because I believe that one of the biggest reasons that we've been able to scale pretty quickly is because of the routines and rhythms. All right. And we learned this from a book from by Verne Harnish called as Scaling Up, one of the best books I would suggest for people to really structure their business. And we go through and really let them know what are some of the weekly routines that we do in our business, what are some of the monthly, what are the quarterly ones, and how it can impact them as well. So in this way, we really set them up for success. It does take effort. Trust me, it's not going to be easy for you to do all these things. But think about it. When you really set them up properly for success, it's just going to be so much more easier.
Well, and ultimately, you will have, of course, way better results than
Yes.
not setting them up for success, which, to be honest, just like probably many other business owners, I've been guilty of this in the past where you bring on a new team member and you didn't lay out the foundations for them to really win, right? And it's like then you're like, oh, why did this person didn't do this, or why didn't they do it the way we expected them to do it? And it's like, well, look at the foundations that you gave to them. They were all broken. So how did you expect it an incredible result out of that,
Yes.
right? So that
I'll tell
was,
you one more
yeah.
important thing that we do, which I've got crazy raving reviews from every new team member that comes into our business. We do a personal goal setting exercise with every single one of them. It's a 12-step method that we take one of their biggest personal goals. It can be to buy a car, to go for a vacation, buy a house, whatever it might be. And we prepare a Google Doc and run them through 12 different steps as to how you can make sure this personal goal is a done deal. And we also help them prepare a vision board on Canva. And this is unbelievable because they're like, wow, why are you doing a personal goal setting with us? Because we know that when we really care about people in a genuine way, the connection is next level. So this is a part of our onboarding process as well.
That honestly, guys, go and re-listen to what he was broken down, because even myself, I'm like, yeah, we don't have videos of some of our long-term team players literally telling this stuff that I'm always saying to other people, like, yeah, we have this team member that bought the car that wanted, this team member paid for the entire medical bills of this family member, this one bought a house. It's like, well, it'll make total sense to have that in a way that new team members can become aware as to
Yes.
what other team members have been capable of achieving by being within the team. So that really sparked something in me, like, that sounds so easy. Why don't we have that, right? Like that we're literally gonna go and implement that
Nice.
along with some of the other things that you mentioned. So that sounds key. As you can see, Darshan, as a multi-7-figure busy business owner managing over 170 staff, he didn't have time to make content. He didn't know how to do it, and he had no strategy behind it. So that's why eventually he came to us and joined us as a podcast partner so that we could do all of that for him while he can protect his time. And all he does is sit down in front of camera and talks about his field of expertise. So if you're a business owner that is struggling with that same exact problem challenge, or you're not seeing any results out of your current content system or strategies, apply down below for a free podcast system demo where we will put together a tailored strategy how you can too protect your time, become the go-to in your space, and generate high quality leads for your back-end offers and businesses. I'll see you on the other side, but in the meantime, let's go back to the episode. In terms as well of you onboard the people, right, that come into the company, how do you keep them accountable, and what's the leeway or time frame that you have to really know, like, hey, these guys are gonna make it, or no, we need to start looking for a replacement, or hey, we didn't screen out correctly this person?
Usually for us, what we do is we have a thing called as a nesting period. Okay. It can last anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks. And the biggest thing over here is giving them the clarity of what success looks like. And especially in the documented job scorecard board, where we really note down and let them know. Say, imagine now 8 weeks are over. What does success look like? All right. What does winning look like for you in crystal clear numbers? All right. And the most important thing that we try to make sure is we want them to win. All right. That's where we try to provide all the resources, all the documentation and everything. And the way that we try to keep people more accountable and the visibility is by end of the day report, where we get to have a quick end of the day report where they send their leaders in different Slack groups or even on email what are the wins that they have had. All right. What are the things that they can improve, that they can get better on? What are the main projects that they have worked on? The number of calls they have done, number of people they have spoken with, so that everyone knows what exactly are they doing. The second thing which I have observed, one of the biggest ones, as in when you grow a pretty big team, is you having absolutely top notch scorecards and dashboards. And this is one thing which I'm pretty crazy about because I have so many moving parts, so many projects going on. And when I speak with my leaders, I openly tell them, all right, you have absolute autonomy in doing whatever you want, whatever you can do. But only thing which I need visibility is on the dashboard, because every day I can see what exactly is happening in that particular project or in that with that particular person, and I can make decisions quickly. So I don't need to wait until it has gone crazy. Like, it's red. So every day I can see the dashboard, I can see what are the minute tweaks I can do. And this is the reason why sometimes I can see, even previously as well, I used to be always on the firefighting mode. Wow, what's happening, what needs to be done, and then there's so much uncertainty. Whereas when you become like a CEO who measures the business only through dashboards and scorecards, it just becomes so much more easier. And the best part is, even the new team member gets to look at it. They're like, am I winning, am I succeeding? Because they always say that you got to measure whatever you want to manage. The more you get better at measuring, you get better at managing it. And this is something which I can see with so many businesses at times. They try to do everything, but a real scorecard or a dashboard is not set up. And also, even if it is set up, is it visible to the entire organization? Can everyone see? All right, because especially with our sales team, every day at least 2 times we really get an entire leaderboard of how many dials have been done, how what's the call duration, how many sales each and every single person has got. Because with this, what happens is it drives their motivation. And sometimes if people have some challenges, they're not being able to work, we provide them resources. The first and foremost one is we try to make sure that they have booked in their calendar a one-on-one call with the top performer in the company, where they can share their strategies, where they can share their techniques and everything. The second thing is, if it is needed, sometimes I jump in as well. I'll share with them some of the mindset strategies, some of the techniques, what's in it for them if they succeed. And somewhere, if they're struggling or if they're having challenges, I personally send them some YouTube videos as well that they can watch and share the takeaways with me. So this is second thing that we do. And the third thing also that we do is we really put a lot of love bombs. By love bombs, what I mean to say that is when they have a small win, we make it a big thing. They're like, wow, amazing. You got such a crazy testimonial from a customer. You got such an amazing review from a customer. And within the 4 days, you were able to get a sale. This is a huge thing. Because what happens with this is it builds a lot of trust in that people and the confidence as well, because when they start new in a company, they're not sure, they're a bit hesitant. And it's just not me, the leaders and everyone in that the team in that particular project, they keep love bombing them. So this builds a lot of certainty and confidence in them.
I love that last one that you said, because that's another thing that I've noticed is that instead of just waiting, which is something that me, and I don't know if this is just my personality type or whatever, or whatever it is, but something that I notice is that I tend to not celebrate personally the little things that happen. I do track them though. I keep a personal, what I call diary of a founder, and I have everything that happens documented throughout my day, from the wins, the things that didn't work out, and so I'm aware of them, but I don't make a big deal. Even from some of the big wins, I kind of don't
Mm,
go out of my way of celebrating in cases, unless it's a real serious thing that I deem like, yeah, that was awesome, right?
yes.
But then for your team is different. Like I
Mm,
can't keep, I realized I couldn't keep that standard of no not kind of celebrating when they do something, even if it's small in the grand scheme of things, but it's a win,
mm,
because it kind of helps building their confidence, as you said, in their own ability, and more of a giving them a sense of progress,
mm.
which is something that as well I realized, like, more than winning and everything, people want to see progress in what
Massive
they do,
also.
right?
Yeah, because I can see that, like, especially one acronym that I always use with our leadership team is called as RAE. All right. R stands for recognition, A stands for appreciation, and E stands for encouragement. Okay. And I need to remind myself as well all the time. Sometimes, like they always say that, right? You have that negative bias. You look for what is not working, why people are not doing stuff. But the more I remind myself that, you know what, there's always something to recognize. There's always something to do to build people up. And what I've personally experienced is using this recognition, appreciation, and encouragement builds people up faster than anything else.
Now, we spoke about as well having a clear onboarding, right, process. What are some of the tactical tools that you use to make that onboarding process elite as well?
Usually, like we use Canva,
Mhm.
okay, and like Google Doc and other ones as well. Not too much deeper into the documentation aspect of it, but what we do is another very important routine that we built up is our weekly one-on-ones. So every week, I do my one-on-ones with the entire leadership team and maybe a few top performers, and our leaders as well have their one-on-ones documented very clearly. So in this way, every week we know what the particular team member is going through. All right. Are they able to hit their goals? Are they able to get their wins sorted out? Is there any personal family challenges happening as well that we need to be aware of? Because we don't know. They might be going through something which I'm not aware of. And when I look at the scorecard or the dashboard, the numbers are low. So when we go through this one on one, we get to really understand what exactly is happening. And more importantly, it builds massive accountability with these people as well. And what we do is we link the company targets and the company goals to their personal goals. And in this way, we can see that there is an intrinsic motivation. It's not that they need to do something only because the company needs to hit revenue. So when they do something, how is it going to benefit their kids, their family, their loved ones, so that it brings that internal drive in them?
That's another key part, right? Constantly be reselling your team into why they're here, why they're doing what they're doing, how does their actions are linked to, as you said, their own personal goals within the company, right? And having a big enough mission with the entire company that their dreams are totally possible within it, right? And fit it.
You,
Now,
you you mentioned it really
yeah.
right. All right. It's about selling that vision, selling that belief that this is the place that can help all your personal goals, that can help all your dreams to make it a reality. The more of a better job I do in selling this vision and selling this hope, the better team that you always end up having.
Now, as well, you mentioned the dashboards, right? Which is where you see decentralized information. So it's pretty easy for you to assess as to who's failing and what are they failing at. What's the technicality behind that? How do you get those dashboards and where are they built and how do you feed the information from the team member to the dashboard as well?
Yeah. So first and foremost, the main area where we pull all the data from is the CRM.
Mhm.
Okay. Currently, we use Zoho, but we use a few of them from Go High Level as well. So most of the data sources have to be really intact. Okay. And yeah, we use different analytics software, but the easiest one is just Google Sheets. All right. That's the easiest one where you can link everything to using Zapier and Make. And every single team has their own dashboard. Okay, and every single project has their own dashboard which directly links to the master dashboard of the company as well. And this is one thing I'm pretty serious about, and one thing which I always make sure I follow up with people. Okay, and I really openly tell them, hey, can you please keep an alarm on your phone to send me this leaderboard, send me this dashboard, because I know that I don't need to ask anything else. If I can keep and have a look at the dashboard, it makes so much more things easier. And especially when you have multiple businesses, multiple projects in them with multiple people working on multiple projects, it gets really chaotic, and it puts a lot of mental load on you as well if you don't have a proper dashboard setup. And the most important thing here as well, Nelson, is in making sure the dashboard has very few numbers. It has taken a lot of time and effort for me to make sure the dashboards is pretty visible. And even now, I tell my leaders when they send me a dashboard, if it has anything more than five numbers, I just delete it. All right, because for me with my mind, I just can't process it. It just goes over my head, and I want to make sure those key numbers are bold, are highlighted, and really stand out, and they have different color coding as well. So my I when I look at it, it's very clear. Is it succeeding? Is it not working? And we usually have three colors as well, like yellow, green, and red. In this way, I can see that is this particular project or is this particular person going towards our monthly target, or are we going away from our monthly target? And what can I do currently right now? This is the biggest one. There's no point in having any scorecard and dashboards if you can't change and tweak and make the decisions in real time. All right. So this is the main reason why it's so important to have clarity on those scorecards and as less of a detail as possible. Because sometimes when I look at it, when it has 12, 13 numbers, 14 numbers in small fonts, I'm like, nah, let's sit down and let's get our scorecard done in a proper way.
And now, how do you do with roles that are not as clear when it comes to outcomes. Let's say, as an example, a sales role is way more tangible in terms of the outcomes, right? Like, hey, did you outreach that many people? Did you engage in this many conversations? How many of them did you close? So it becomes very trackable, right? But there's other roles, like as an example, someone regarding customer success, right? That might be a little bit more subjective. How do you track the roles that are not as tangible as something like sales, for example?
So with those kind of roles, it's hard to measure on a daily basis. But what we do is we still have a measurement structure over there. It can be on a monthly or a quarterly basis. So where we measure depending on number of reviews we have got, how many 5-star reviews we have got, how many 1-star reviews have we got, and also even with our tech team as well, we try to measure the SLAs there. Within how much time has the project been closed? When the ticket was raised by our internal team, how many days did it take to close this ticket? Because if it has taken more time, I can see that there's a bit of a challenge. And the second thing that we do is we even run surveys in our internal team itself. All right, how much do you think you are being supported by this particular person? And also, we use NPS scoring with customer support and admin people, where we send it to some of our clients to see that are we meeting our NPS requirements, CSAT requirements as well. It's not the easiest thing to do, but there can always be some kind of a measurement that can be really set up even for admin, even for customer support people. And the most important thing is communicating this measure to them. This has been the biggest thing which I have observed. Most of the times, either me or the leaders in our company might not have done an exceptional job at times in communicating this to the admin people. This is where most of the gap happens. All right. I expect something else. They are thinking about something else. So when we try to bridge this gap, it just becomes so much more easier.
Which is one of those other challenges, right? As a
Yeah.
business owner, making sure that we're both on the same page as to what
Huge.
does success looks like, what does failing looks like, because the more or the less clarity you have in between you and your team, the more you will find that something didn't happen because you were just on completely different pages as to what needed to happen. And sometimes I've had this happen with such dumb shit that then I look back and I'm like, wait, why did you believe that this was? And like you see, it becomes very apparent why just different type of personalities and different brains just will take a situation completely different. So you always want to get full clarity for everyone involved as to
Massive.
this is how we measure success, is very clear as day of what it looks like, so there's no miscommunication once we get there, right? Or why we didn't get there.
And to be honest with you, Nelson, 99% of the time, it's my fault
Uh, yes.
as a business owner.
Yes.
All right. And even as a leader,
Yeah.
it's not the other person. Okay. Because I'm just on a go, go, go mode. One project to another project as an entrepreneur. You have those things, but you tend to forget that people love getting clarity. And to be honest with you, it was hard for me to understand that oh, people should be always self-motivated or they need to know what to do. Man, come on. They seek the clarity from you as a leader. All right. And the most important thing is sometimes people love to be led. It's such a massive mental strain as well that when they know that, you know what, this is the 5 things that is expected of you, this is how we're going to measure them, there's a massive sigh. Oh man, now I know what is expected of me. And the momentum goes like anything. Because they always say that where there is clarity, there is momentum.
We spoke about how to source that talent, how to onboard them. Uh, in terms of incentives as well, going back to that side, what are some of the best incentives that have resulted in you really getting the best out of remote teams?
Oh, this is an awesome topic. I love talking about this. I'll share with you about our remote sales team, okay? Because most people ask us about our remote sales team, because especially we close some of the high ticket sales, anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5, even $5,000. So the way we structure our incentive structure has been an absolute game changer. The first and foremost one, the biggest one that we do is we have an international trip, all right, for really top performers. okay, where it can act as a retention strategy as well for you to really keep those high performers. So what we do is for those people who are able to hit these numbers for an entire year, they get to come to this international trip. So in the just last 3 years, we have taken them to Bangkok, Vietnam, and this year, this financial year, if they hit those targets, we'll be going to Bali. So if you look at it as an investment, it's one of the best investments you can get to retain the top-notch talent in your team. And this is a 1 year goal as well. And this can help you increase your engagement in your team as well. Something that people can look forward to, all right, what they can do in the next 1 year. It's been amazing. So the second thing is what we do is every quarter, we have different incentives that are running because we have remote team. It's sometimes me or my business partner. We tend to go to Philippines as well. So what we do is we have a 5-star buffet incentive set up. So if people are able to hit those targets in those 3 months, they get to come for this buffet incentive. Whereas if they go above and beyond, they can even get a staycation in a 5-star hotel. And usually only 1 or 2 people will hit this, but it's no limit. If they want to, they can go for it as well. That's the second thing that we set up. And the third thing is, which we're about to start soon, is a Christmas basket incentive. People love that, especially when you work in a remote team. So usually for November and December, if they hit a particular number, we deliver them a huge Christmas basket with all the goodies, the wine, and all these things. So people love that as well. And another one that we do every quarter is an appliance incentive, especially for the sales team. They love getting these air conditioners, television sets, all right, noise canceling headphones, all right, Apple earpods, and all these things. Because what we have seen is the more engaged your team is, the better results you end up getting. And this is by far the biggest challenge most businesses face. Because when people come to work, they have a lot of things that they can get distracted with. It can be kids, it can be social media, it can be anything that they can get distracted. And especially, Nelson, in a remote team environment, if you can get this engagement thing nailed, man, it's done. All right. You don't need to do anything else. And every day, what I'm thinking is, how can I improve the engagement in the team? So those are the big ones that we do. On top of that, we have tier level incentives as well. If someone gets anywhere between 10 to 15 sales, they get tier one. So they get an extra bonus on top of the commissions, whatever they earn. So if they get 20 to 25 sales, they had tier two bonus. So they get another bonus. And another one that we do is for their own personal best. We have a personal best record. So if someone has got 25 sales, if they get 26 sales in the next 2 months' time, they get an extra money because they have beaten their own personal best record. So this is another one that we set up. And another quick ones that we do when we can see that some momentum has to be built or it has been a bit stale, they're called as SPIFs, SPIFFS. They are like quick short wins where we give like a Starbucks voucher. All right, we have 1,000, I don't know, like $50 cash voucher for the person who gets the highest sales this week, something like that, because this builds a lot of engagement in the company as well. So these are some of the few ones, like a different kinds of incentives we have. I know sometimes my finance team has a bit of a headache looking at all these ones. And when they need to clear the invoices, they're like, oh my God, how many incentives do you have? But the best thing I can say is that is one thing that has given me more freedom as a business owner. And more importantly, it's very fulfilling when you share your wins with your team. All right. They get to be a part of the team as well. And yeah, it works as the best retention strategy. And sometimes I've seen it so draining to go from hiring and letting go people, hiring and letting go people. When you give them the ownership thing for a particular project, it becomes so much more easier.
So you have basically incentives in the short term, so weekly type of incentives. You have quarterly, and then you have yearly as
Yep.
well incentives that they're all working
Yes.
together towards it. In terms of the trip as well, do you do it in a way where only a few people can earn the trip, or like, how does it work exactly, that one?
Most of them can still hit it, all right, because we have different tier levels in the international one as well. A tier one is a basic one where most people can still make it, all right, and tier two and the other tiers are where they can bring one of their family member as well. And this is an all expenses paid trip. So if you want to go for the tier 2 and tier 3, you got to work your ass off. It's extremely hard to hit that. But the thing is, there are some A performers who are willing to go for it. And what we do is we use this particular yearly trip as our team retreat as well, where you get a chance to speak with everyone, you get to meet them in person, you get to do some team building activities, and you get to share the vision for the next financial year. So we usually do this during the first or the second week of July when the new financial year starts, so that it can become like an incentive as well as a team retreat where everyone gets to be a part of it and yeah, share the wins and keep going from one year to another.
Now, we have discussed, obviously, how do you find these people, what it looks like onboarding process, then what it looks like to incentivize them, make them to be engaged, how to retain it, right? It in terms of as well AI, this is one thing that is rapidly changing the landscape for every business, right? But including this type of businesses, recruitment. How do you see AI impacting remote teams?
Massively, Nelson. And this is where 6 months ago, we made a decision that we're going to become an AI driven company, no matter what's going to happen. And I'll tell you a few of the projects that we have executed, which has been absolute game changer for us. The first and foremost project that we executed was about reactivating our leads, because I was pretty much onto the AI thing, but I was getting annoyed as well. Yeah, AI is good to create content, all right, to send emails and all these things, but show me the money, man. How am I going to make money from it? All right, because as a business owner, you do need to think about the revenue generating, customer acquisition, and everything. So yeah, we ran like an AI database reactivation campaign, and it was really good. For the first phase of it, it worked amazingly well. We were able to reactivate a lot of leads using AI, and we closed around $180,000 in revenue just with this one thing. And the second thing that we are implementing at the moment is AI for our backend team. So they process a lot of documentation, all right? They fill up a lot of forms and all these things. So currently, what we are doing is we are using Gemini and N8N to automate most of the stuff. And what I've seen is what work used to take us 3 to 4 hours is getting done in 25 minutes. And I'm like, man, this is insane what we are doing at the moment. Because I can see that now my team can focus more on building personal relationship with our customers, with our team members, rather than spending time on admin and data entry. Okay. And the third area where we have started using AI a lot is in our call, like dialing. So we implemented a new tool called as Dialpad AI. It's like a VoIP line system which gives you real-time transcripts, like AI scorecards, AI playbooks, and this has made our training and the work of our QA so much more easier, where people can see in real time, all right, what are the trigger points. And also, we have given a few of our salespeople some of the most amazing prompts. All right. If this particular is from this profiling, what would be their common pain points? All right. What are the outcomes? What are the transformations that are really relevant to this person? So, yeah, it's been really going good. And one more thing we just launched last week is our own AI portal, which we are adding it as a value add, like a value stack, for people who go ahead and pay in full and make the payment. And that's been received really, really well. So what I want to say is, it's just not going to be either remote team or AI. And I can see that the integration of both is where the businesses are going to take. Because previously, even for us with remote team, we used to think that every problem, just throw people at it. Just throw people at it. Because it's still an affordable talent, right? You can do that. But now I can see that it's no longer the situation. Either you evolve, you adapt, and make sure that you use remote teams with AI. It's unbelievable.
Do you are currently outsourcing fully to AI type of agencies, or are you having team members that are literally an AI internal department?
Currently, what we do is with any project we start, we try to work like a done with you kind of a service. So we do work with an agency, but we want to make sure we build our internal systems. so that, like, we are not dependent on an external
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
Okay, so we tend to start with an AI agency, but we want to make sure the infrastructure is set up in such a way that we can take over the control as well. Because the reason being, if I try to do it everything from scratch by myself, it takes a longer time. And at the same time, if I try to outsource everything, there's a lot of dependency on the other person as well. So we always look for a system which is like done with you kind of a service, where our team is involved. We still have the credentials, we still have the resources and everything, but we get a kind of a consulting help where they jump in, they help us, they support us, and within like a few months time, if everything is finished, we get to still monitor and make those adjustments.
You're 100% doing exactly what any intelligent business should be doing, which
Yeah.
is like, hey, don't fight the trend. Use it to your advantage. What does it look like in this new landscape of whatever you're doing? Because every single business, including yours, including mine, is going to be affected by it, and is already being affected
Already.
by it, right? And it's happening faster than what we all think is going to happen too. So instead of fighting it, what does that look like? What does your current service looks like if you were to fully embrace it and integrate it into what you do? What are the things that are right now? And by the way, you can brainstorm these things with the machine
Yeah,
itself, right? You can
true.
literally sit down, commit time, and be like, hey, this is what I do right now. What does it look like for me over the next 5 to 10 years using AI to our full advantage in terms of our team, our service, delivery, the future, so that you
Mm.
can start putting together a clear vision of what that is? Because right now, I fully don't understand the businesses that are not embracing it,
Oh
not
man,
using it. I still come across
crazy.
businesses that are not using AI to nothing, or they're just barely tapping its full potential, right? And yeah, it is
Yeah,
absolutely
and
crazy.
I can see that the reason being, to be honest with you, the founders are not driving it, and I was guilty of it. All right, whenever I could see people implementing AI and other things, I'm like, crazy man, why are we not doing it? But the biggest reason why we are not doing it, me as a founder, I'm not driving it, I'm not leading it. Because you can tell your staff, hey, go implement AI, hey, you do AI, but fuck man, they're
Yeah.
looking at it,
Yeah.
you, and say like, what are you doing about it? So what we did is, Nelson, we started an amazing ritual for this. So now every 3 months we have a particular thing called as an AI Leader Champion Award for our leadership team, and every 3 months we got to come for a 90-minute presentation, and we got to present to everyone, including me. I have to present what is it that something that I've implemented in AI in my particular department or my particular project, and what has been the outcome, what has been the result, and how are we able to measure it. So we just did one last week, and it just blew my mind that now everyone in the company is driven to win that AI Champion Leader Award as well in our leadership team, and everyone is coming and presenting. So we just did one last week, and we'll be doing again another one in Jan. Now I can see, I have more belief that our business is going to become an AI driven company.
I freaking love that. What's the incentive
The
with it?
incentive is like, yeah, they get a cash award, all right, and they get to go for like a good massage, something like that, like a voucher. And the most important thing is them getting recognized in front of the everyone that this person has won an AI Champion Leader Award, like a certificate of recognition, a plaque, and everything. And people do go above and beyond to win that award. And more importantly, it's for leaders in the business. Come on, man, if you can't execute it, who else can? And the best part is it'll have a ripple effect on everyone in the business, because we have around 8 to 9 leaders in the business. And yeah, and the most important thing is they know that you need to present by this time. And for me as well, that's what motivates me. There's a massive accountability. I don't want to show up saying that I haven't done
Yeah,
anything in AI.
exactly.
So yeah, I had to do a lot of things just one week before the presentation to show that what we have done, what we have implemented, and I can see that there are minute things happening, but it's so good to embrace it. That yep, this is what it is, man. People will expect more from you now.
This I love what you said as well. Like, why is it not happening? Because you, as the founder, are not driving it.
One hundred
It
percent.
always comes back to you. Like, and it is one of the hardest things in business as a founder, as a CEO, taking extreme ownership on what you do and just really looking at yourself in the mirror when you're not getting a specific outcome that you're working towards, as to, in some way, shape, or form, this always comes back to you. Whether it's your team, even your customers' failures, even everything comes back to you.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing about it
Because we are
instead?
like a tribe species, right?
Yeah,
It's the emotional contagion. We can say a lot of things, but people always try to mimic what the leader does. That's the reason why they say that, right? Most of the time when the business gets stuck, it's because of the mindset and the psychology of the founder. Because where the leader can flourish, where they can work on their own mindset, all right, their own perspective, every business succeeds well. Because even when you take, like, look at really big companies, they just fire a CEO and bring in a new CEO, the share goes up. Why? Because everything was the same, right? It's the leader who comes in, takes the ownership, makes thing happen, can have the biggest impact.
that makes the biggest difference as well. Uh, is the who, right? Who's the person behind it? What are, in your perspective, the three most powerful questions that a founder can ask himself in order to get to multiple seven figures?
Amazing. The first and foremost one is, what can I do today and even this entire week to create momentum? This has been a biggest one because I can see that whenever revenue goes low or people are not performing at their highest potential, your number one role as the CEO, they even say that CEO is the chief energy officer, chief emotion officer, is how can you bring in that energy to create huge momentum. And usually I have seen that momentum happens by implementing new projects or making the current projects better, making them way much more better. So yeah, I think so. That would be a number one question that you can ask. What can you do as a CEO or as a founder to create massive momentum? The second thing I tend to ask is, how can I always over deliver for my team members and for my clients? All right. What can I do to make sure that blows their mind? What can I do above and beyond the extra? That's something that I can do to make sure that, yeah, I give value, because that's something really core for my own personality as well. Because if I don't give, I I just don't feel comfortable. All right. So what are some of the things that I can do? And this is a question I ask every single month with my business partner, with our board of directors, that what can we do to over deliver to both these two people, to both our clients, to our team members as well. That's the second one. And the third thing is, what can I get better at? Because everything comes down to skills. All right. And I personally feel that there are so many skills that I need to get better at, I need to improve. And the most important thing is having a personal development plan to implement it to get better at this one.
I really resonate as well with the first one. Momentum. Momentum is everything, right? Momentum works in both ways, both
Yes.
positively and negatively. I've seen it time and time again, like consulting for other business owners, our own partners, how sometimes they go into a spiral, and sometimes it can be a really good spiral, a positive one.
Yes.
And you see how, it kind of keeps reinforcing itself as long as they continue to chip at it and do what they need to do, it keeps growing. But then the opposite is true, where sometimes you might get into a negative one, and you kind of just keeps making the situation worse
Yeah.
by not doing the correct actions, by just being in your own head about it, or just adding negativity and all these things, and it kind of goes all the way down now. So momentum is extremely
And that's
powerful.
something which I've
Yeah.
seen with you as well, Nelson. Your energy is so good, man. And the team always rubs off on your energy. They feed on you. And that's something which I need to evaluate every time before I start any Zoom meeting, especially in a remote environment. If you are going there with 99% energy, people will grab only 50% of it. And that's something which I've seen with your team as well. When I come here, you drive that energy. You are at like 1000% energetic, and the team rubs off on it. And that's something which I need to remind myself all the time. How am I the most energetic person in this room? If I'm not, what can I do? All right. That's why it's so important these days for entrepreneurs, like to maintain and hone on their energy, like biohacking, be it ice bath, exercise, nutrition, and other things. Because if you don't have energy, the business can't grow. Simple as that.
Absolutely. And as you said, you as the founder have to drive it, right? You have to be the source of it for everyone else. Uh, what are three uncommon practices that you do in order to train, keep, retain, and get the best out of remote talent?
Amazing. Yeah, I'll share a few with you. All right. When I usually tend to go and meet my remote team in person, this is an exercise I do, especially with our top performers. I write down on a sheet 10 things I love about this person. Okay. And I clearly write it down. And no BS. It's all from bottom of my heart. All right. I know you're one of the most giver person. You're the most persistent. You always look for ways to improve. You learn some things. You are an amazing mother. All right. I love the way how you care for your family. I just write down those things, put a picture of them on the right side. All right. And really bind them and get a frame done as well. And when I get to meet them in person, I try to give these to them. And oh my God, it's unbelievable. Some of the things which I've given to people 4 years and 5 years ago, even now when I have a Zoom call, I can see that they have it in front of their desk. Because sometimes people rarely appreciate the other person and look for the good in them. And when you are the other person's biggest cheerleader, when you are the other person's biggest supporter, unbelievable things happen. And they always say that people don't care until they know how much you care about them. So this is one uncommon practice that I tend to do. And also sometimes when I tend to meet people in person, when we go on their international trips, I just shoot a selfie video, all right, with them and telling their kids, telling their husband what a freaking awesome performer this person is. That's completely next level as well because you're really making sure that you value this person. So that's the second one as well, which I an uncommon practice that I tend to do. And even with me as well, I just want to make sure that yeah, I'm in a peak performance. All right, there are so many weird, crazy biohacking stuffs which I do, and when people look at it, like be it my supplement stack, be it my ice bath machine, and other things, it's pretty weird and pretty uncommon. But I think so. That's what sometimes entrepreneurs do. You are like the square hole in like a shell, all right, in a round shell. So yeah, you just have to keep doing uncommon things, even though you might feel that yeah, you will get judged. All right, people might not like it. It just comes down to doing that things different because they always say that different is better than better. So how can you be different?
I love that question at the end. This is a this or that segment. So
Okay,
you just choose one or the other. Tea or coffee?
coffee, hands down.
Su- sushi or steak?
Sushi,
Expert or jack of all trades?
expert,
Product or service business?
service,
CEO or founder?
founder,
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram at the moment,
Instagram or YouTube?
YouTube,
YouTube or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn,
Photos or videos?
videos.
Short form or long form video content?
For now, short form,
Newsletters or podcasting?
podcasting,
Organic or paid marketing?
paid marketing, hands down,
1 million followers with low conversions or 1,000 raving fans?
1,000 raving fans.
Remote talent or local talent?
So easy. Remote,
Building a talent or hiring a talent?
hiring a talent.
A talent at a high price tag or multiple cheap C talent?
The first one, high talent.
Property investing or shares?
Ooh, I would say business, but I'll go with property.
Property or crypto?
Property.
Property or buying businesses?
Ooh, buying business is something I need to explore more of. Yeah.
Building a business or buying a business?
Currently, it's been building, but I can see most wealthy people are about buying business. Yeah, buying business.
Passion 6-figure business or stressful 8-figure business?
Ooh. I think I would go with the stressful 8 figure. You can make it unstressful soon.
Sales or marketing?
Wow. Marketing.
Good one. After making multiple seven figures, what's the most painful lesson you have learned of scaling a successful business?
One of the biggest painful things which I have learned uh, is seeking help, asking for help. You don't need to figure it out all by yourself. All right. There are people out there who would be willing to support you in your mission, in your vision, and everything. But it just comes down to you adding value and you being genuine and you having a clear intent that you're there to serve, you're there to help other people. Because whenever we go internal, all right, that how much I want to make money, what I want to do, the I think, it always causes more stress. When is it external? All right, be your clients, be your team members. There's a different sense of energy that drives you. And yeah, it's so much important to understand that what is in it for other people. All right, what can you do to serve, to help, and absolutely over deliver?
What are the three things that if life will take away your podcast, your content, your social media platforms, all your standard operating procedures, everything that there is to know about you? What are the three things that you will leave behind for other founders to build successful multi seven figure businesses?
I think the first one would be the mindset or the knowledge or the person you have become. I think so that's been the number one thing, because the person you have become, the knowledge you can share, the epiphanies you have had, the knowledge you have learned would be the number one thing. Because somehow I believe that no one can take it from you, and that's something that you can keep and compound by sharing it with other people. And second thing would be the people, all right, the network that you have built, that you have interacted with. That would be the second biggest one. And the third one, somehow, I still believe it's a combination of the second one, is your team. All right. They would be the number one thing, because they always say that, even though it sounds such a cliche, whatever dream you have, only a team can make it come true.
I love that last one. What's the worst business advice you have ever received?
The worst business advice I've received to this date is to just keep hustling. All right. All right. And I'm like, man, that's not the right way. Okay. And I face this as well as an immigrant coming to this country and working hard. That hustle alone might not be the issue. Okay. And you trying to overcome doing hard things. Because I used to always get confused. People say that, all right, hard work is the key to success. Hard work is the key to success. But what exactly is hard work? All right. I need to thank Dan Martell for this. All right. He clearly explained hard work doesn't mean you working 12 to 14 hours. It's your ability to do uncomfortable, hard, frightening things. That's what hard work is. And when I heard that, it completely changed my mindset. And even this current journey which I'm going through, like building a personal brand, speaking on videos, that's the most uncomfortable thing for me to do. But I know that because I can align it with my identity, that I am a hardworking person. And the perception that I have identified with hard work is that you don't need to work 12 hours, you don't need to work 14 hours. Your ability to do hard, uncomfortable, frightening things is going to yield you for success.
Opposite to that, what's the best business advice you have ever received?
The best business advice I have received is about who, not the how. The more you focus on the who and the why, things are going to be so much more easier. And I can see that as well. Most of the time, the genuine way to go, or the default way to go, is keep asking, what do I need to do? All right, what do I need to have? All right, what do I need to learn about? But instead, the quality of the question can be changed by why I need to do it. The more time I spend working on my dream, working on my goal, and the stronger the why becomes, it's so much more easier. And also finding the who, because someone else has already done it. Okay, so it's so much more easier to invest the money, invest the time in them, and that can absolutely fast track your projects. And I can see that every time some of the richest people that I've interacted with, both in terms of their mindset, their money, everything, they always find the who and make sure the project gets executed by the who.
Darshan, it has been an incredible conversation. Certainly one of my favorite ones because it's something that we hadn't brought a world class, basically recruited, right? Someone that has worked, built, retained elite teams. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be very helpful to other business owners. Now, if they want to get in touch with you, work with you, or just even ask you any questions, where can they do that?
The best platform would be LinkedIn because I'm pretty active over there. Connect with me on LinkedIn, drop me a message, anything that you need to learn, know about how to build remote teams. I'll be more than happy to share everything with you guys.
Thank you so much, Darshan, for coming on to the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, as usual, all we ask is that you share it with all the founders, business owners that might get value out of it. And we'll have the links to Darshan down below so you can contact him or learn more about him. We'll see you on the next episode. Good vibes to everyone. Hey, legends, my goal with Founders Playbook is to help 1 million entrepreneurs build successful personal brands and businesses so that they can increase their impact and profits. You can support the mission by simply sharing the podcast with other founders and entrepreneurs. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on social media. Let's get to work.